The courthouse hallway smelled like old wood and cold air, the kind that crawled under your skin. 8-year-old Lily Parker sat on a wooden bench, her legs too short to reach the floor. Her small shoes swung back and forth, tapping the bench lightly in a rhythm that wasn't really a rhythm at all. She didn't speak. Not to the lawyers. Not to the judge. Not even to her mother. For 6 weeks, Lily had barely said a word to anyone. But today everyone needed her to speak. Across the hallway, Officer Daniel Hayes, a tall man with gentle eyes and a badge that carried weight, stood beside a dog. Not just any dog. A German shepherd with deep brown eyes that seemed almost human. His name was Cody, a trained courthouse comfort dog who had been present for hundreds of testimonies just like this one, but never a child as quiet and closed off as Lily. Daniel knelt beside Cody, giving his ear a slow scratch. "She's scared," he whispered. Cody leaned his head into Daniel's chest, listening, calm as still water. On the bench next to Lily sat Emily Parker, her mother, hands trembling as she held her daughter's small fingers. Emily's eyes were tired, exhaustion mixed with fear and something darker, guilt. She had tried so hard to protect her daughter, and still, harm had found them. A few weeks earlier, Lily had witnessed something terrible. Something involving someone she once trusted. Now, the courtroom needed Lily to tell the truth so justice could be served. But Lily couldn't form the words. When she tried, her voice disappeared, swallowed by fear that made her throat feel like it was closing. "Lily," Emily whispered softly, pushing hair from her daughter's face, "you don't have to be afraid. I'm right here." But Lily didn't look up. Her fingers clenched the hem of her dress, twisting the fabric tightly. Tears gathered in her eyes, though she didn't let them fall. She had been brave for far too long. A door opened. Ms. Harper, the attorney working with them, stepped into the hallway, her expression gentle. "They're ready," she said. Emily stood, but Lily didn't move. Ms. Harper looked over at Daniel. "We might need help." Daniel nodded and gestured to Cody. "Cody, go see her." The dog walked slowly, his paws silent on the polished floor. He sat directly in front of Lily, lowering his head to her level. His deep brown eyes met hers, not demanding, not encouraging, just there. Lily blinked. Cody gently nudged her hand with his nose. A small, shaky breath escaped her lips. Emily whispered, astonished, she noticed him. Lily finally lifted her hand and rested it on Cody's head. His fur was warm and soft. Something inside her loosened, only a little, but enough. She didn't smile, but her eyelids fluttered like she was trying to remember how. Daniel crouched beside them. "He'll stay with you the entire time," he said softly. "Cody doesn't leave anyone alone." Lily's voice, quiet, raw, escaped in a whisper barely louder than a breath. "Promise?" Daniel placed his hand over his heart. "Promise." Emily covered her mouth, tears welling. It was the first word Lily had spoken in weeks. Ms. Harper exhaled, relief breaking into her expression. "Let's go," she said gently. They entered the courtroom. It was larger than Lily remembered, colder. People whispered. Papers shuffled. Every sound felt too loud. Her fingers trembled as she held Cody's vest tightly. At the front, the judge looked down with kind eyes. "Good morning, Lily," he said softly. She didn't speak. But Cody lowered his body beside her chair, his head resting on her lap, grounding her. His presence was like a hand on her back saying, "You're safe." The prosecutor began speaking. "We understand this is difficult. Lily doesn't need to look at anyone except Cody. She can pet him, lean on him, whatever helps." The defense attorney shifted, annoyed, but didn't object. "Lily," the prosecutor continued softly, "can you tell us what happened that day?" Her throat closed. Her heartbeat pounded. The room disappeared. Her hands clenched Cody's fur. And then Cody lifted his head and placed his paw, carefully, deliberately, on her knee. The courtroom stilled. Something clicked. Lily closed her eyes. Her lips parted. And for the first time since the nightmare began, she tried to speak. But before words could form, a tear finally fell, landing directly onto Cody's fur. He didn't move. He just stayed. Her voice, cracked and fragile, finally pushed through. He told me not to say anything. Gasps whispered across the courtroom. That's enough for now, the judge said calmly, protecting her. But Lily shook her head. She didn't want to stop. Cody was here. She wasn't alone anymore. She opened her eyes. And she spoke. The courtroom seemed to hold its breath. Lily's words were small, fragile things, barely there, but they were enough to silence the room. Every person present understood how monumental they were. It wasn't just a sentence. It was a door creaking open after being sealed shut by fear. Cody stayed pressed to her side, warm and solid, anchoring her to the present moment. His chest rose and fell in slow, steady breaths. Lily copied the rhythm without realizing. The prosecutor lowered her voice, speaking as though the two of them were alone. You're doing very well, Lily. You're safe here. No one is going to hurt you. You can take your time. Lily nodded, still keeping her hand in Cody's fur. She didn't dare look around the room, she didn't want to see him. She knew he was there. The man who had told her to stay silent. The man who had once read her bedtime stories and laughed with her in the kitchen. The man who had betrayed everything a child is supposed to trust. Jason Walker. Her mother's former fiancé. He sat only a few yards away, wearing a suit and a face that looked calm, too calm. But his eyes. They were cold, watching her like she was something he needed to control. Like he still believed she belonged to his silence. Lily kept her gaze fixed on Cody. Her voice came out soft and trembling. He said if I talked, he'd make Mom go away. That I'd never see her again. Beside her, Lily's mother, Emily, flinched as though struck. Her trembling hand reached for Lily's shoulder, but Lily didn't look up. The judge spoke gently. Lily, thank you for telling us that. You're very brave. Brave. Everyone kept saying that. But Lily didn't feel brave. She felt like a small bird caught in a storm. The prosecutor continued, choosing her words carefully. Lily, when you were at home with Jason, did he ever tell you secrets you weren't allowed to repeat? Lily swallowed. Her chest tightened. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. Cody shifted again, pressing his paw against her leg. Not a command. Just a reminder. I'm here. Lily took a shaky breath. Yes. What kind of secrets? Silence stretched. Lily's lips trembled. Everyone in the courtroom leaned forward, waiting, but trying not to look like they were waiting. Cody, she whispered, not to call him, but like she was speaking to him directly. As if she needed to tell him instead of the room. And Cody, knowing something deeper than command training, lifted his head and looked at her. Not like a dog. Like a being who understood fear and had seen it maybe 1,000 times before. Lily leaned closer, her forehead nearly touching his. And then, she began to speak, not loudly, not cleanly, but clearly enough that the entire courtroom heard her. She told them everything. About the nights she stayed perfectly still, afraid to move. About the locked door. About Jason's voice in the dark telling her that no one would believe her if she ever said a word. About the way her mother had tried to protect her but hadn't seen the full truth. Emily covered her mouth, tears sliding down her face, shoulders shaking silently. She had suspected. She had tried to ask. She had trusted a man she shouldn't have. And now her daughter was the one paying for it. Lily stopped talking only when her breath began to hitch. The prosecutor quickly ended the questioning to avoid overwhelming her. The judge called for a short break. As soon as they left the witness stand, Lily collapsed into her mother's arms, not crying loudly, but quietly, the way someone cries when they've been holding everything in for too long. Emily held her close, rocking her, whispering promises she would spend the rest of her life making true. Daniel approached slowly with Cody. "Lily," he said gently. She lifted her head, eyes still wet. "You did something very important today." Lily sniffed. "I was scared." "And you still did it," Daniel replied. "That's what bravery really is." Cody pressed his head against her chest. Lily wrapped her arms around him. She didn't just pet him now, she held him like he was the only solid thing left in the world. "He knew I was scared," she whispered into his fur. "He always knows." Daniel smiled softly. "That's why he's here. Cody doesn't let people be afraid alone." Emily stroked Lily's hair. "Thank you, Officer Hayes. Thank you so much." Daniel shook his head. "Cody did the work. I just drove him here." But Emily saw the truth. Daniel's calmness had been the anchor, Cody the bridge. Court resumed shortly after. Jason took the stand. His lawyer tried to paint him as caring, misunderstood, falsely accused. He said Lily was confused. He said she made things up. He said she didn't understand what she was saying. But the jury saw the way Jason's words fell flat. They saw the coldness in his eyes. They saw how Lily had clung to Cody like someone clings to safety itself. When the prosecutor cross-examined Jason, his composure cracked. Not enough for him to shout, but enough for the jury to notice something in him shift, something controlled slipping. And for the first time, Jason looked unnerved. Because Lily had spoken. Not to the judge. Not to the lawyers. Not to the courtroom. She had spoken to Cody. And Cody had listened. When the court adjourned for the day, Lily didn't want to let go of him. She leaned down so her forehead rested on his snout. "Thank you," she whispered. Cody's tail swished once. Slow. Understanding. Daniel knelt beside them. "You know," he said softly, "Cody doesn't normally get visitors outside of the courthouse. But I think he'd like to see you again. If you'd like that." Lily looked up at him for the first time fully, the faintest spark of something returning to her eyes. "Hope. I'd like that." Emily exhaled, relief loosening her shoulders. "Then we'll make it happen," Daniel said. Because something had changed today. Not just in the courtroom. Inside Lily. She had unlocked a voice she thought she'd lost forever. And Cody, the quiet witness, the listener who needed no words, had given her the courage to use it. The morning sunlight filtered weakly through the apartment curtains, casting pale lines across the living room floor. The world outside continued as normal, cars passing, birds chirping, neighbors speaking across balconies, but inside the Parker apartment, everything felt different. Lily sat on the couch wrapped in a soft blanket, knees pulled to her chest. Her mother, Emily, moved quietly in the kitchen, making breakfast without asking questions. She knew that words came slowly now, carefully, carefully, like walking across thin ice. Lily wasn't silent anymore. But she was still fragile. Emily placed a plate of toasted waffles and sliced strawberries on the coffee table. "Honey," she said softly, "you should eat something." Lily stared at the food. Her stomach twisted. She didn't feel hungry. But she didn't want to upset her mother either. So she reached for the smallest strawberry and took a tiny bite. Emily exhaled quietly, a sound of relief that barely registered, but was there all the same. There was a knock at the door. Lily flinched. Emily froze too, just for a second. Then she walked to the door and looked through the peephole. "It's okay," she said, relief flooding her voice. "It's Officer Hayes." The door opened, and Daniel Hayes stepped inside. He wasn't in uniform today. Just jeans, a gray sweater, and a gentle expression. Beside him trotted Cody, alert, tail swaying low and slow. Lily's face changed the moment she saw him, not a smile, exactly, but a softening. Her shoulders dropped. Her breathing eased. She slid off the couch and onto the floor before she even realized her body had moved. Cody padded over and sat in front of her, leaning his weight against her side. Not asking for attention, giving it. Emily swallowed the emotion rising in her throat. "You two must have a special bond," she murmured. "It happens sometimes," Daniel replied. "It doesn't happen often. But when it does, it tends to mean something." He didn't say what. He didn't have to. Lily rested her cheek against Cody's neck, fingers tangled in his fur. "How are you feeling today, Lily?" Daniel asked gently. She didn't answer right away. She thought about it. Really thought. Finally, she whispered. "Tired. But, better." "That's okay. Tired makes sense." Daniel sat down on the floor, not beside her, but near enough that she felt his presence. "Yesterday took a lot of strength." Lily nodded. I didn't think I could say anything." "But you did," Daniel said. Cody placed his paw over her ankle, as if to agree. Lily's voice trembled. "Will I have to talk again?" Emily moved closer, kneeling beside her. "Maybe once more. Only if the judge asks. And I'll be with you. And Cody. And Officer Hayes." Lily looked up at Daniel. "You'll come too?" Daniel didn't hesitate. "Every time you need us." Cody nudged Lily's chin with his nose, lifting her face just slightly. She blinked back tears. Emily looked at Daniel. "You have no idea what this means to us." He gave a small, warm smile. "Actually, I do." There was a quiet moment then, peaceful, fragile, but real. Lily picked up her plate and moved to sit beside Cody. She took slow bites of her food, leaning into him the entire time. It was the most she had eaten in weeks. After breakfast, Daniel suggested something unusual. "Would you like to take Cody for a walk? There's a small park down the block. It's quiet this time of day." Lily hesitated. The world outside still felt big and sharp and loud. But Cody was here. And Cody made the world smaller. Softer. She nodded slowly. "Okay." Emily grabbed their coats, and they stepped outside together. The sidewalk felt cold, but the morning breeze was gentle. Cody stayed close to Lily's side as they walked, never pulling, never rushing. Just being there. At the park, children played in the distance, their laughter bubbling in the air. Lily watched them, but didn't move toward them. Not yet. Cody sat beside her on the bench while Emily and Daniel stood a few steps away, speaking quietly. "She still has nightmares," Emily murmured. "Some nights she wakes up screaming. Other nights she just stares at the wall." Daniel nodded. "Trauma doesn't leave quickly. But she's not alone anymore. You're doing everything right." Emily wrapped her arms around herself. "I should have seen it sooner." "Abusers are good at hiding things," Daniel said softly. "The blame is his. Never yours." Emily's eyes shined with unshed tears. "I just want her to be a child again." "She will be," Daniel said, certainty in his voice. "Not today. Not tomorrow. But she will be." Meanwhile, Cody nudged Lily's hand. She looked down at him. "Can I tell you something?" she whispered. Cody's ear flicked. "Last night I dreamed I was back in that room. The one with the dark corners." Her breath shook. "But you were there too." Cody leaned his whole body into her. His presence firm and grounding. "And when I woke up," Lily continued softly, "I wasn't as scared." She didn't realize it until that moment. She wasn't speaking to Cody instead of people. She was speaking to Cody so she could speak to people. It was different. It was healing. Slow, careful, real. After a while, they walked back home. Cody curled up by the couch, resting while Emily helped Lily take a warm bath and change clothes. The water made Lily feel lighter, like some of the fear washed away with the soap bubbles. When she came back into the living room, her hair damp and fluffy, Daniel was sitting on the floor beside Cody, leaning against the couch. He looked up and smiled. Lily walked over and sat beside him. "Officer Hayes," she whispered. "Yes. If I didn't have Cody yesterday, I don't think I could have talked." Daniel nodded slowly. "I know." She looked up at him, eyes clear and steady. "Thank you for bringing him." His expression softened. "Lily. Cody doesn't just help in court. He helps people find their voice. He helped soldiers who came home lost. He helped others who have seen things they shouldn't have had to see. And now, he's helping you." Lily leaned against Cody once more. "But you brought him," she said. And Daniel's smile broke, full of something warm and quiet and deeply human. "Then you're welcome," he whispered. Cody's tail thumped once against the floor. A promise. A rhythm. A heartbeat. Lily didn't know what the future would hold. She didn't know how long it would take to feel safe again. But she knew one thing. She wasn't alone anymore. And for the first time in a long, long time. That was enough. 2 days passed quietly. Lily slept a little better each night. The nightmares still came, but they were shorter now, and when she woke, she remembered Cody's warmth, his steady breathing, and the way he had stayed at her side in the courtroom. She clung to those memories like a rope in the dark. On the third morning, the phone rang. Emily answered with a small, tired voice. "Yes, this is she." Lily sat on the couch with Cody's fur pressed between her fingers. Cody had been allowed special visitation privileges now, something that didn't happen often, but the judge approved it without hesitation, saying it was therapeutic support for a minor witness. Emily's face changed as she listened. Worry. Tightness. Decision. She hung up and knelt in front of Lily. "Honey, we have to go back to court today." Lily stopped breathing for a moment. Her chest squeezed. The room felt smaller. Cody lifted his head and pressed his paw softly against her leg, grounding her just like before. She took a breath. Then another. "Will he be there?" Lily whispered. Emily nodded. "Yes. But we will be right next to you. And Cody, too." Cody's tail brushed Lily's ankle, like a quiet promise. This time, Lily didn't hesitate as long. "Okay," she said. The courthouse felt different this time. Not smaller. Not safer. But different. Lily walked in holding Cody's vest gently, her small hand buried deep in his fur. Daniel walked beside them, expression calm but alert. Emily was on Lily's other side, squeezing her shoulder now and then to remind her she wasn't alone. The courtroom doors opened. People turned to watch her enter, but Lily didn't look at them. She only looked at the space around Cody's ears, the soft place where his fur curled slightly. Jason was already seated at the defense table. He looked confident. Too confident. His eyes flicked toward Lily, sharp, possessive, like he still believed he had control. But something had changed since last time. Lily didn't look away. She didn't speak to him. She didn't react to him. She simply saw him. And that alone made him shift in his chair. The prosecutor spoke first. "Your Honor, we'd like to allow Lily to speak to Cody directly, as it helped her previously." The defense began to object, but the judge raised his hand. Denied. The witness will testify as she feels safe. Jason's jaw tightened. Cody lay down beside Lily at the witness stand, resting his head on her thigh like before. His fur warmed her palms. The prosecutor smiled gently. "Lily, do you remember when you spoke to Cody last time?" Lily nodded. Do you feel ready to talk again? You only have to answer what you can. And you can stop any time. Lily took one slow breath. Then she placed both hands on Cody's back and began speaking, not to the courtroom, but softly, to him. Just like before. Cody, that night, I heard the door close. I was already in bed. But I knew it was him. I could hear his footsteps. He always walked slow at first. Her voice faltered, but Cody's ear twitched. So she continued. He told me that if I said anything, I'd lose my mom. That no one would believe me. And I believed him. Her fingers curled slightly in Cody's fur. But I know now he was lying. A quiet ripple passed through the courtroom. The prosecutor nodded gently. Lily, thank you. That was very brave. I only have one more question. Okay, Lily whispered. Do you want Jason to come back into your life? Lily didn't even need to think. She lifted her head, not to Cody, but to the judge. To the court. To the entire room. No, she said. I want him to stop. I want him to go away. I don't want to be scared anymore. Her voice, though small, echoed across the courtroom. Jason shifted again, this time, his composure cracked. His face hardened. His hands clenched. He looked less like a confident man and more like a cornered animal. And the jury noticed. Everyone noticed. Lily lowered her head again and pressed her forehead to Cody's neck. Daniel's eyes softened with pride. The judge nodded once. Thank you, Lily. That was enough. Not just enough. Everything. The verdict wasn't given yet. That would come later. But everyone in that courtroom already knew how the scales had shifted. As soon as Lily stepped out into the hallway, Emily wrapped her arms around her, but gently, carefully, afraid to break the fragile strength Lily had found. You were incredible, Emily whispered. Lily didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Daniel knelt beside her. You did more today than most adults could ever do. Lily's voice was soft. I don't feel strong. Daniel smiled. Strength doesn't feel like strength when you're using it. It feels like surviving. And you're doing that, Lily. Every minute. Cody leaned against her again, steady, constant, unshakable. The hallway was quiet for a long time. Finally, Lily whispered something so small it almost didn't leave her lips. Cody, can I keep seeing you? Even after court is over. Cody didn't speak, but his head lifted, ears perked, tail swaying once in a slow arc. Daniel placed a hand over his partner's back. Yes, he said. We'll make sure of it. Cody isn't just here for court. He's here for healing too. Lily pressed her face into Cody's fur. And for the first time, not in fear, not in relief, but in peace. She cried. Soft, quiet, human tears. The kind that wash something clean. The kind that means something is finally changing. The courthouse was behind them now. The verdict came 1 week later, guilty on all charges. Jason was sentenced to years in state prison, no contact allowed, no loopholes, no chances left for him to intimidate or return. When the judge announced it, Lily didn't smile. She didn't cheer. She didn't cry. She just breathed. A breath she had been holding for far too long. That night, Emily tucked her daughter into bed. The bedroom was the same, but the air was different now, not heavy, not tight. Lily's stuffed animals were arranged around her. She had placed one near the pillow, one at the edge of the bed, and one right next to her chest. But there was a new picture on her nightstand, a printed photo of Lily sitting on the courthouse steps, one hand on Cody's head, the sun setting behind them in warm orange and soft gold. A moment of peace, captured. Cody was supposed to visit once a week. But that first week, Lily asked every single day. And every single day, Daniel said yes. At the park, Cody trotted through the grass, nose low, tail swaying with easy confidence. Lily followed him, her hair bouncing in the breeze. She still walked close, never far, but she walked. Daniel and Emily sat on a nearby bench, watching her. "She's different now," Emily said softly. "Still quiet, still gentle, but different." Daniel nodded. "She has her voice back." Emily smiled, not a tired smile this time, but soft, full. "She told me she wants to go back to school in a month. She said she wants to try." Daniel's expression warmed with pride. "That's a big step. She said she wants people to see her. Not what happened to her." Daniel looked across the park at Lily. She was kneeling in the grass now, showing Cody a patch of daisies like it was a secret only they shared. "She's already doing that," he said. "A new routine. Healing was not a straight line. Some nights the nightmares returned. On those nights, Lily woke up shaking. But instead of silence, she spoke, softly, in whispers, to her mother, sometimes just saying, 'Stay with me.' And Emily did. Every time. Slowly, Lily began to draw again. First just shapes, then sunlight, then trees, then one afternoon, she drew Cody. A full page, charcoal shading, soft fur lines, deep brown eyes. She taped it to the wall. Daniel saw it during one of their visits. "That's him," he said, surprised, because the drawing wasn't just accurate. It was felt. She had drawn his watchfulness. His warmth. His quiet strength. Lily didn't respond. She didn't need to. She just slid her hand into Cody's fur. Daniel paused. Then, without making it too heavy, he asked. "Lily, why did you talk to Cody when you couldn't talk to us?" Lily thought about it. Really thought. Her brows drew together, her eyes soft. "People," she whispered, "look at you when you talk. And it feels like too much. Like they want something from you." Daniel nodded. "That makes sense. But Cody," she continued, stroking his head, "Cody just listens. He doesn't make me hurry. Or look at me. He just lets me talk when I can." Daniel swallowed around something in his chest. "He understands fear without asking for explanation," he said quietly. Lily nodded. "Yes. That." Cody nuzzled her shoulder. The ceremony. A month later, the courthouse held a small private ceremony, a recognition event for Cody's years of service. He was nearing retirement age for working dogs. They said he had done more than nearly any dog on record. Dozens of children. Hundreds of survivors. Countless silent voices that found sound again in his presence. They gave him a medal, a small engraved bronze tag on his collar. But Lily didn't care about medals. She only cared about him. When it was her turn to speak, no one expected her to say much. They expected a few words, maybe a shy thank you. Instead, Lily stepped up to the microphone, Cody standing at her side. Her voice was steady. "When I couldn't talk, everyone was scared for me. Everybody wanted me to say what happened. But I couldn't, because the fear was too big. And the world was too loud. And every time I tried, I disappeared." The room was silent. But Cody didn't ask me anything. He didn't make me talk. He didn't look at me like I was broken. He just sat with me. And he waited. Her hand rested on Cody's back. And when someone waits with you, it makes the scary things smaller. She took a breath. A strong one. So I talked. Because I wasn't alone anymore. Emily wiped tears from her eyes. Daniel did too, though he turned slightly so no one could see. Lily knelt beside Cody and pressed her forehead to his. "Thank you," she whispered. The metal around Cody's neck glinted softly. Not for bravery. For loyalty. The quiet kind. The kind that saves people. After the ceremony, Cody retired officially 2 weeks later. Most retired service dogs go to live calm, peaceful lives with their handlers. But in this case, the handler didn't take him home. He offered something else instead. Daniel stood in Emily's living room, hat in hand, Cody sitting quietly beside him. "I've been thinking," Daniel said, voice controlled but warm. "Cody works best where he's needed. He always has. And he's happiest when he has someone to look after." Emily's hand flew to her mouth. Lily froze, hope rising too fast to believe. Daniel looked at Lily. "If you and your mom are willing, Cody would like to live here. With you." Lily didn't move. For a moment. Then she ran. Not scared. Not hesitant. Not fragile. She ran. Right into Cody's fur, arms wrapped around him, face buried deep, laughing and crying at the same time. It was the sound of a child being given back the world. Emily burst into tears. Daniel's eyes shone, though he blinked quickly. Cody stood steady, tail swaying, head resting lightly atop Lily's small shoulder. She whispered into his fur. "You found me. And I won't lose you, too." And for the first time, Cody gave a soft, low sound, almost like a sigh. A promise. A home.